A fundamental right protected under the First Amendment of the Constitution is the right of the people to peacefully assemble. But today, I'm going to argue that during some of the Occupy Wall Street protests, police acted improperly when they made arbitrary decisions with no grounding in official laws, when they disguised content-based restrictions to look like time, place, and manner restrictions, and when they used excessive force for the situation. First, regarding the claim that they made arbitrary decisions with no grounding in official laws, a prime example of this is the Occupy UC Davis protests. What happened in these protests is that all week during the week of November 18th, students had been camping on the campus quad to protest tuition increases and previous cases of police brutality. And this camp had been approved by the administration, but on Friday, November 18th, Chancellor Linda Katehi wanted the camp dismantled for the weekend, and her rationale was that it was for the safety of the students for the weekend, as there wouldn't be as many staff available to monitor the event. So she sent the police in and ordered them to dismantle the camps, and when the police asked the students to do this, some of them did, but some students peacefully protested by sitting on the ground with legs crossed and hands linked and refused to move, at which time the police doused them with pepper spray and then arrested them. This case bears resemblance to Gregory versus Chicago, a 1969 Supreme Court case where African Americans in Chicago marched to the mayor's house asking for desegregation of public schools. And when some onlookers became unruly, the police arrested the protesters, the marchers, and convicted them of disorderly conduct. In this case, it was noted by the Supreme Court that the peaceful march fell well within the definition of constitutionally protected behavior. The court also noted they were not convicted based on the manner in which they held their demonstration, but based on their refusal to obey a police order, and neither the Chicago ordinance nor the charge brought against the demonstrators included failure to obey a police officer in the definition of disorderly conduct. No ordinance that prohibited camping at UC Davis was present either. And this means it could be argued that in both cases, the police just kind of made up a law on the spot and arrested them with no firm grounding in law. And the Supreme Court already set the precedent with Gregory v. Chicago that this is unacceptable. So I would think that if the UC Davis case went to the Supreme Court, they would find the same thing. Secondly, the police disguised content-based restrictions to look like time, place, and manner restrictions. Now, it could be argued that the administration did not like the issues that the students were protesting. They didn't want to hear messages about the tuition being too high. So that could be why they asked the camp to be dismantled. And cases like this are not unprecedented. There was a similar case in Snyder versus Phelps, where the Westboro Baptist Church was ordered to protest 1,000 feet away from the church of a military funeral. And this also could have hampered the effectiveness of the message to make sure the message wasn't heard by the audience that it was supposed to be for. And finally, the police used excessive force for the situation. Now, ideally, the students should not have been penalized at all for what they were doing because they were simply doing a peaceful protest. But if they were punished, maybe it could have been forgiven if fines had been issued, or if they had been peacefully arrested without the pepper spray, only using pepper spray if there were violent incidents taking place. But the fact that they used pepper spray in this case, a UC Davis task force which investigated the incident even called this police behavior, quote, objectively unreasonable. Now, communities do have the right to impose time, place, and manner restrictions to balance the rights of everyone in the community and to protect safety, but they also have a duty to uphold the Constitution, especially the First Amendment, and only punish people for things that are firmly established in objective laws if we want our reputation as a free and democratic society to endure.
Mode. Stop recording video. Button.